Welcome back to the Third Wheel Podcast, where you're going to be the third wheel in our conversation. I'm your host, Shaps, followed by...
Caleb.
All right.
I don't know about you, Shaps, but I'm very tired, very sick of having guests.
Tired.
You know what I'm saying? We need to go on a classic Caleb and Shaps adventure.
Honestly,
okay.
Classic Caleb and Shaps adventure.
Okay, every time we have a co-host on, or a third wheel, you know, and then the audience
a little training wheel. Yeah.
You know, we put our audience in a bad position where they're the fourth wheel. Okay, now it's a full moving vehicle and it's driving me crazy.
Honestly.
Okay, we've had so many guests on and so many great conversations. We need to slow our roll
and have
go back.
terrible conversations.
Yeah, I'm ready to go back on a classic Caleb and Shaps adventure.
Let's make this as awkward as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You ready?
Cool.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. What do we got today? What's on the agenda?
Well, let me start off by saying we're not going to have... This is very much a classic episode because there's not even any food to try.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really going back in time here.
I don't know. First episode, we had the Starry.
Ooh.
Okay, I will say, did you see that Pepsi's making their own, like, ketchup?
Oh, yeah.
I showed you that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to get our hands on, but that'll be a classic episode. You know why?
Dude,
Because it all harkens back to Pepsi,
Honestly,
let me
it
tell you.
all full circle goes back to
every
Pepsi.
time. Next time we get a spokesperson for Pepsi. That'd be really cool.
100%.
Yep.
So I want to start off today by saying thank you guys for watching always,
Yeah.
forever and always. I cherish every single one of you. I think about you a lot. A lot.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every time we get a new sub, oh, look at this, 250 hours of watch time. People
Heck
really
yeah,
like
bro.
the videos you're creating. That's nice. Thanks,
Dude,
guys.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I think not too long ago we hit like 10,000 views or something altogether. Yeah, 10,000 views. It says more of your videos are being looked at more
That
often.
is 10,000 more than I ever thought I'd ever
Yeah,
get.
I really thought it would take one. I thought we were going to get one view per episode.
Sure, yeah.
To take 10,000 episodes
Guys,
to get some views.
My mom just started watching this, and we've
Yeah.
been doing this for 6 months.
She's like, "What's it called again?"
She's like, "What, for the third wheelie?"
Yes, yes, Mom. Look
I'm
that
kidding.
up.
She's not that old, but thank you for watching, Mom. Love you.
That's not the impression I was getting. I didn't think you were calling her old.
Okay, cool. She would kill me if I said anything like that. So
Hey, look, it says we can now hide video ranking details from our audience. I want them to see how good we're doing.
let's hide the dislike button as well.
It says +9 subscribers in the last 28 days. That's pretty good.
like
I'm very
that.
happy with those numbers.
those numbers.
Let's keep it going. Let's get to 50.
Well, maybe we will after this conversation. Let me tell you, this one's going to be kind of a deep one. So let me start off with entertainment. Everyone loves being entertained. Every single person loves being entertained in their own way.
I actually don't. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I be the entertainer. I'm not to be entertained. I
Yeah.
am the entertainer. No,
This is bull.
baloney. No, everyone loves being entertained in some form or fashion, and actually entertainment has a very, very important role to play in culture and society. History says. But also, historically, dangerous acts, dangerous entertainment, that's also been something back in the, ever since the ancient days, right? I mean, we've got the gladiator games, we've got freaking Houdini, doing death-defying stunts. But nowadays, with everything more modernized and quote-unquote more safer, is there a limit to how far an entertainer can push before it's too much, Is death the limit? Or is there something before that, I just watched a wonderful mini interview with The Undertaker and Mankind both recently, like a few days ago. WWE Network posted this video about them looking over one of the most famous matches, if not their most famous match, Hell in a Cell 1998. Mankind versus Undertaker. This is the famous fight, for those of you who don't know. They acknowledge it's scripted. I will say that in the video, they actually acknowledge it's scripted. So, like, for those of you who are like, it's so fake, yes, it's a point. It was entertainment, all right? That's the whole idea. We're past that now. They had a script to follow, but WWE, the way it works, it's kind of a little bit more fluid. It can actually spiral in a different way. Like, if something goes off script, they don't cut. They literally just keep on going, or at least the professionals do. Prime example, they're Hell in a Cell, so there's a giant cage that they're supposed to fight in. Well, immediately, Mankind breaks out and he starts climbing the cage, which is something you can do, right? Undertaker follows him, just like they scripted, and Undertaker was supposed to toss him off the cage, right? He tosses him off the cage onto a table, and it was a really bad landing, and he broke like several bones in his body. Undertaker, mind you, preference this, had a broken foot this entire time, and he still fought.
How'd he break his foot?
Through a previous injury, like from another fight. But he still came in, you could not tell. And he's walking up with a broken foot.
No
and he
way.
tosses Mankind off the cage, breaks so many bones in his body. He has a mask. Guy combat. They took out the mask. The medics came in. It was over. Like, it was completely done. Undertaker was done. He was climbing down the cage. Like, oh crap! Like, I killed the dude. Like, everyone thought, my God, he's dead. Mankind gets up after about probably 5 or 6 minutes and continues the fight. He climbs the cage again.
Broken bones and all.
Broken bones and all. Doesn't even know what's broken yet, but like he's messed up. He was on the brink of death essentially. He climbs the cage again. Undertaker climbs the cage again. Guess what he has to do next? Undertaker has to throw him through the cage onto the ring. And they actually, in a rehearsal, they said it was probably going to take 4 or 5 times for us to actually do it before the cage breaks. It took one time. One time, right through the ring, he goes through the cage, hits the ring, and he's like, again, done, completely done. There's no freaking way he can continue. But he gets back up. And then the Undertaker gets down in the cage, and they start fighting. They keep slapping. Mankind looks like he's not even putting up a fight. He's just taking these punches. Which again, it's part of the script, but again, it's very fluid.
But they're both broken.
They're both broken. Like they're
Yeah.
both broken men right now.
Yeah.
And like lesser men probably would have threw it or like you said, stop. But
Me.
they kept on going. Like
Yeah.
and then much later, like he's got a bloody messed up face. There was a bone in his mouth that got shoved up through his nose. Like it was crazy, like how bad it was. And the Undertaker the entire time, like under his breath, he's like, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. We can't do this anymore. Like we gotta stop. I'm gonna kill you. Like we gotta stop. He's like,
Yeah.
no, keep going. I'm fine. I'm fine. There's a point in the match where Mankind actually has to go under the ring and pull out a bunch of tacks, real tacks, throw them on the ring. And he's supposed to throw the Undertaker onto the tacks. But the script goes that Mankind is supposed to be thwarted onto the tacks. So what happens? Undertaker chokeslams him onto all the tacks, and he has like hundreds of tacks right through his body right now. Like, how much more broken can you get? And on top of everything, Undertaker pulls a tombstone, which if you don't know what the tombstone is, he basically puts his opponent's head between his legs and then slams his head on the ring and then just taps or, pins him, right? All this freaking happens. And, like, they kept on saying, like, dude, you could have been dead in so many freaking different ways. Like this entire match. You could have ended here, you could have ended here, you could have ended here. It would have been fine. People would have been satisfied. But he kept on going. He's like, the show has to go on. Like, it has to go. Like, we just have to do it. And they actually didn't like the match afterwards because they were like, well, that's the only thing that everyone's ever going to talk about, is like how brutal it was and how off script it was. But like they said, to this day, they still get asked about it. So it was very clear that this is going to outlive them.
Yeah.
Their performance, like everyone talks about this. Even people who are not fans will be shown this clip and they're like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not a wrestling fan, which I'm like softcore, right? It's incredible, but also at the same time, is it worth it?
Yeah.
If they're entertainers, like these wrestlers, they're hardcore. Like they are entertainers to the bone.
Right,
like
for sure.
they are going to do everything. They're never going to call the match, even if it's a serious medical emergency. Now this was '98, so maybe a little different now, but still, like a year later, Owen.
Owen Wilson.
no. I mean, literally a year later, '99, Owen Hart, another very famous wrestler, did die in the ring. He was being lowered from the rafters, like on a harness, and the harness broke, and he fell, and he died. Like, not instant. I don't think it was instantaneous, but he like basically died in the ring. So like, but then WWE still goes on. Like wrestlers still goes on. They still don't break character. Like they still keep fighting, and they keep on it. Even if they get broken bones, like they still will show up the next week, and they'll work into the story maybe a little bit, but like they'll still freaking work their butts off. And there's much easier jobs to do in life, especially after a wrestler. Like a lot of wrestlers get into acting. Like I feel like there's easier things to do, but some of them just like, we're doing this until we die. Like until we're completely broken. Is there a limit? Should there be a limit?
Yeah.
Though? Like because like you do like obviously Undertaker, Mankind, they didn't die, but like the next guy did.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Let's talk about let's slow down then before we get to is it worth it? What were they chasing after?
Yeah.
Was it the money?
Sure.
I'm asking. What, in your opinion, was it the money?
I don't think it was the money because I think
Was
there's
it
I
please
think
the
there's
fans?
I think there's easier things to do, for a lot more money.
Yeah.
Especially people of their build.
Yeah.
They could be wrestling like actual game, like actual wrestling, right?
Okay. So what are they chasing after?
They from basically by all their accounts, it really is just for the show. It's for the fans.
Okay.
And I'm like, that is very admirable, but like
It really boils down to when did social media really have the boom to where everybody's posting videos, everyone's posting pictures?
probably like 2008, 2010,
Okay, so
something like that.
so you said this was in '98.
Yeah,
okay,
all the way back.
So we're still 10 years away from the big social media boom.
Sure.
So I think it boils down to back in '98, clout chasing.
Yeah.
What's clout? Do you have a good definition of clout?
Essentially, clout chasing is just your internet status.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
just status and culture. But
You want to get
mostly, yeah.
noticed. You want people to like your stuff. You want people to view your stuff. We see it now with TikTok, with Facebook, Instagram, the likes.
Yeah.
People, sorry, I don't know if I can say this on the show, but OnlyFans. Like
Yeah.
people trying to get noticed, people trying to make money, people trying. A lot of the like OnlyFans, yeah, it's a good way to make money, but like I think also a lot of it, even just on Instagram, let's back it up. It's like they want the views, they want people to look at them, they want to get noticed. That's what they're looking at.
Sure.
Okay. So back then, you don't have the big social media boom. All you have is the crowd that's filled up the entire stadium cheering you on. They're here to see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you imagine you or I at any stadium filming a live version of this
Yeah.
podcast and everyone's cheering? And
Right.
now for our next guest,
And then,
you,
like, oh,
you don't
something-
you don't have to hit the applause button. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone's there applauding for you right now.
Oh, and then something drops something on my foot on a break. I'm like, oh, crap,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh
walk
god.
this
Yeah.
out.
Like but like that's the thing is they back then it's only worse now because of social media. But
Sure.
back then they were chasing the fans. They're chasing that approval. They're chasing do they want to put a good show on? Absolutely. But what would drive someone through broken bones, broken ankle, heart attacks, whatever stress they're putting on their bodies, where like, man, you should have died. But why are they pushing through that? Because it's not that they don't want to disappoint their fans. It's what they want to keep that clout going. They want to keep the cheers going. They want to be remembered. They want to be noticed and seen. That's what they're chasing after.
See, I kind of disagree a little bit.
Really? Okay, go
Only
ahead.
because they were already famous, really, really famous. Undertaker's the most famous wrestler of all
Oh,
time.
100%.
He didn't need this. Mankind didn't need this to be successful. They could have ended it right when the first injury happened, and that would have been it. It still would have been talked about.
So why do they still do it?
Literally, I think it's because Mankind is the one who actually like kept it going, because Undertaker the whole time was like, okay, we're done, right? Like, this is stay down. Please, for the love of God, stay down. Mankind in his head, he was probably very disoriented at the time, but like just he's in the moment where this is something that can define you. This is something that you're meant for this, you know? I think it really was don't disappoint the fans. Because WWE, like the culture is so family oriented, believe it or not, and like keeping that dream alive, keeping the magic, like almost like Disney, but just like keeping that illusion, you know, it's like we got to make sure this is real, you know, like we got to make sure this happens. I really think it was because he just didn't want to disappoint anyone.
Okay.
Because that's typically, you know, what they say is that they don't want to disappoint anyone. That's in their blood. That's in their culture, you know, like that's just kind of who they are.
Okay. I don't know them personally. And like, were they in that documentary?
So it wasn't like a documentary. It was them on the couch being interviewed, but they were kind of just like looking over the footage.
Gotcha.
This is what I was thinking at this moment. This is what I was thinking at this moment.
Okay. Sure.
And they even said they were like they hated that match afterwards.
Right.
It wasn't like their big magnum opus. They hated that match because all
That's
people
all they're known
wanted to
for
ask
now,
them wasn't.
about
So that's
that.
another kind of tell. Like, okay, they didn't want to be remembered for this. They just wanted to put on the show and have it beginning to end. That's just professionalism to 100%.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
My question is, you know, like, should there be a limit? Should there be like a safeguard? Like, hey, like, I admire that, but for the safety, you know, like, should we keep it? Or is that literally what they're meant to do in this life?
Right.
You know, for
I think
them.
safety has never been any entertainment industry's priority.
Yeah.
They say it is, but like, just look at how many accidents we have. I bet you there's way more accidents than what we actually get seen on news or reported. Like we talked about last episode, if this airs in the right order, we talked about how Harrison Ford broke his foot like doing Force Awakens or Indiana Jones 5. You know, like he's hurt. He keeps hurting himself. And it's like, is safety really that big of a priority?
There's a famous scene, and again, I haven't seen it, but I know the scene, The Lord of the Rings. I don't know who the character is, but he kicks a helmet and he famously breaks his foot.
Well, that's an accident.
Yeah, but still, like, they kept the shot,
Yeah.
like, because it was real.
Yeah. True.
And that can be a slippery slope,
I agree.
because there are some people, like, what was it?
Ooh, I got a good example when you get
I was
done.
about to say, were you about to say, what was that magic movie?
Oh, no. Now you see me?
Now You See Me. The
Haven't seen
girl,
that.
there was like a scene where a girl gets put in a tank of water, and she literally starts drowning in real life.
No way.
And they keep the footage. And
Oh,
she's literally,
yeah,
she's
screw
literally
that.
pointing to the cast like, "I'm drowning. Like, I can't breathe. Like, something's not working right."
Yeah.
And they kept all the footage. Now she was fine. She survived.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but like seriously, like.
Yeah. Like, okay, good job, girl. And then it's
And
like,
you know, like everyone's like, "Oh my god, that looks so real," but like,
Yeah,
and then she,
'cause
you
it
know,
was.
a lot of the actors typically are like, "No, I'm glad how it came out," but like, is that what should be. But then
No.
again, like, would we miss out on like? Again, remember how I said culture is super important for, or sorry, entertainment is super important for culture. It's very important for inspiration. It's very important for ideas and
Yeah.
getting messages across. Like, is it something that we should harp on too much? So I'm really kind of in the middle when it comes to it, because those moments, that happen, like they are moments that are remembered. They are moments that sometimes inspire people. Like seeing Mankind get up after all those freaking hits makes me want to be better, I guess.
Well, back to Lord of the Rings then. There, okay, you haven't seen it. Okay, there's a scene where the main guy, the guy that broke his foot on the helmet, in the first movie, an orc throws a knife at him, and he like swings at it with his sword and like ding knocks it out before it hits him.
Right.
Well, in the behind the scenes, the guy that threw the knife at him accidentally let it slip from his hand, so he actually threw a knife at him, and
God.
the guy was like, yeah, that was a real reaction, so
crazy.
in small instances, like, yeah, that was great footage, you know what I'm saying? A less extreme example where nobody's life was threatened. Did you ever watch Tarantino's movie Hateful Eight? Okay.
No. I'm doing them in order.
Okay, cool. Well, side note, where you at?
I am. What's after Kill Bill?
Kill Bill 2?
No, I mean like this. Yes, Kill Bill Volume 2.
I don't know if they came out in order or not. I think they did back to
No,
back.
I'm talking about like the Tarantino movies, like how they came out. I'm doing them in order. Now, I did watch. What was his first movie?
This is a bigger sidebar than I meant it to be.
Okay,
All right.
sure.
You're on.
Yes.
You watch Kill Bill. Okay. All right. So, okay, less extreme example. Sorry, said it again. Hateful Eight. There's a scene where one of the main guys picks up a guitar that the girl's playing and smashes it.
Yeah.
Well, that guitar was from a museum, and they used it for authenticity from that time period. She's playing a song on that guitar. Well, what was supposed to happen was they're supposed to yell "cut," and he takes it from her and then smash and then like they were going to swap it out with the fake one, not an antique, right? And so nobody told that to Kurt Russell, so nobody yelled "cut" either. So he just goes on with the scene, and so he takes it from her and he smashes it, and the girl's like, "Wait, stop! Don't do it!" and then smashes it, and then she's like, "Whoa!" That was a real reaction because she knew they were supposed to yell "cut" and then swap it out, but he didn't get the memo. Oh. So you can tell in the scene when she's like, "Wait, no, don't do it!" And he's just like, and then she's like, she doesn't look at the camera. I think she looked at the director. Wow. And she's like, whoa, like, and then, but supposedly Tarantino's in the back, like, oh, perfect. Like, he got the reaction because that's what he loves. He loves the candid reactions to things. So he was like, heck yeah. And so they pissed off the people that loaned them the guitar. And they were like, we're not going to do that again. We're not loaning out to movies anymore. But, it made the movie better. Sure. That's a less extreme example of what you're talking about. But you brought up Houdini. So did you have a story related to Houdini?
Dude, I mean, what didn't Houdini do that wasn't death-defining?
I'm actually not very familiar with. I know who he is.
Sure.
But in regards to what you're talking about?
Every single, short summary, every single act he did had to be better than the last one. And all of them were death-defining.
Okay.
So all of them had to be more dangerous than the last one. Like jumping off a bridge, for instance, in ice cold water, and then unchaining himself because he was chained up, like from a straitjacket, like that kind of stuff. And he really put that on the map, the death-defining stuff. And then even people like David Blaine, more modern times, was inspired by Houdini. He wanted to top him. Yeah. The whole freezing himself. I don't know if you know much about David Blaine, but freezing himself, in Town Square for a week or something, or maybe it was a little less than that, but almost I wouldn't say all the time, but a lot of the time they had to pull him out early because he was literally about to die. And then after a lot of these acts, he would be either permanently damaged, or damaged for a long time, months and months and months just of recovery.
Are you sure none of these are motivated by okay, but what did the fans think?
I don't know what David Blaine.
Okay.
Because he's a weird cookie. He's definitely a weird cookie. You should probably look up him eventually, because he's fascinating story, but he's very quiet and very secretive, I'd say, mysterious. Doesn't really talk about a whole lot about why he does it. Just he did say he kind of loves being on the edge of between life and death. He loves being in that moment.
So
where
he's not a clout chaser, I guess.
He's not. You're in the moment right before death and also hanging on to life, but he's I love reaching over to the other side. Houdini was kind of similar, but he was more of because he loved essentially the idea of being so close. No one's ever going to get this close to death, you know, like he's going to be the only person to do it. And also, show must go on. Like he's always going to fulfill it. And he actually died in a very anticlimactic way.
Really?
He got punched in the gut
By
a fan.
oh,
So he had this famous trick, I guess, where he would dare people to punch his gut.
no way.
And he had a way of, like, you know, repelling every single punch, essentially, no matter how hard people
Not
punch
this
him.
time.
But a fan literally just ran up and punched him when he wasn't ready, and that's how he died.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah, no.
I was getting ready to blame Houdini for like messing
No.
up the trick.
No, it was definitely, like, stupid fans.
That's
but
messed
like,
up.
Yeah, it was awful.
People are dumb back then. I bet you if he had a phone, he would have been recording. Hey, Houdini.
Okay, take my punches, huh?
Yeah, that's
No.
disappointing.
It really is sad. But, like, dude, he also lived, like, one of the most incredible lives ever. But is it because of who he was or because the stunts he did? You know,
I think
like,
it's the name Houdini.
Sure.
Nobody's like, dude, that Houdini trick.
Yeah.
No, it's like Houdini. Everyone
Yeah.
says Houdini, Houdini, Houdini. So I think his legacy's fine.
Yeah, but like,
But that's a good point you
seriously,
brought up.
what is it that you remember about him?
Yeah.
Is it a lot of people don't even don't really know a whole lot about his tricks, but you know his name, you know.
That's
But
right.
like him himself, like just there was only one person like him, or at least one person like him willing to put his life on the line
Mm-hmm.
for one reason or another. Just like these wrestlers. That's why not everyone can do this. Yeah, a lot of people have the potential to, but only a few people are brave enough to really put their lives on the line
Yeah.
for the show, for the entertainment factor.
So
you
how
know,
do
like-
you feel about stunt doubles then? If we're gonna go that route,
It's, well, to me, it's a totally different field because when you're acting, a lot of it is expression, dialogue. Can you convey feeling? And can you make the audience believe, you know, what you're saying is real? Stunt doubles need to make the stunt look real. So they're kind of totally different. Not totally different, but they're a little bit different. Wrestlers, they have to do both. They have to make the physical stuff look real and they have to make the actual dialogue look real or sound real. With acting, I couldn't really care less if an actor does their own stunts. I think Tom Cruise is very admirable, though. I
Yeah.
will say, Tom Cruise is one of those people who are talking about death-defying stunts
Yeah.
for the sake of entertainment.
that's what I was thinking of.
Is he a clout chaser? Because he's already one of the most famous people
No,
ever.
yeah,
so,
no,
like,
definitely not clout
I think
chaser.
he generally just loves
Yeah.
doing it.
No, he wants to be the
only one who does it.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to be the famous person. That,
Yeah.
like, because like you said, he is famous, but I think he really wants to be. I think he just loves acting. I think he
Yeah.
loves action movies. Like
Yeah.
those Mission Impossible movies, man, they're psycho.
Yeah.
Bro, that dude's crazy.
Like, seriously, like, and that's like, I don't want to lose that, you know, like,
Right.
by capping it or putting, you know, safety bandages over everything. I
Yeah.
don't think it's ever going to go away, but like, there's something totally special. Like there are people who do death-defying stunts all the time, not for entertainment factor, just for themselves. You
Right.
know, climbing Mount Everest or bungee jumping or flying an airplane, like driving your car. Technically, you know, there's some people who are like, this is my life. This is what makes me happy.
Yeah.
This is what I want to be remembered for. This is just something for me, essentially. And something to give back. I love it when they just use it to give back to people. I mean, there's some kids who probably saw that match, you know, with Undertaker, and we're like, and Mankind, they're like, you know what, I want to do that. I want to do something like that. I'm inspired to be better than what, you know, like society tells me I can. I don't want to throw in the towel, you know, when things get rough. You know, like it can be anything. That's why I'm saying entertainment is so freaking valuable. It can be abused, but it can also be used in such a beautiful way, you know, as dangerous it can be. Fascinatingly enough. But that's actually for a deeper conversation, I think, later on, for like how entertainment has an effect on culture. But right now, I just want to really talk about, you know, the safety and like how far people can push. Now, you brought up earlier, you wanted to talk about.
Well, I was just thinking, like, it sparked up an idea in my head for people that say, like, a very first episode. Shout out to episode 1.
Yeah.
We talked about the Rust shooting with Alec Baldwin. Is that what you're telling me to bring
that
up?
was first episode? Oof.
Yeah, a long time ago, bro. 6 months. Shout out to episode 1. But okay, why were there real bullets in that gun that Alec Baldwin shot? Did it really add and make
See,
it more realistic?
First of all, what I don't like about that, he wasn't in danger.
Right.
Well, I mean, technically, everyone on set was in danger.
Well,
but, like,
technically, he didn't pull the trigger,
he
right?
he wasn't putting himself in front of the gun.
Yeah.
You know, like he wasn't the one pulling the trigger. Like, who the flip cares? Who's
Yeah.
going to know the difference between, with modern technology, who's going to know the difference between a real gunshot and a fake gunshot? No, you just want to say you use this movie
Yeah, exactly.
with real guns. Like,
Right.
it may even, I don't, it's like,
And it's probably
That's completely unnecessary.
up until this controversy. I don't think that movie was going to do any good.
No.
You know what I mean?
That was its one saving grace, I
Yeah.
guess. Like, it's a fun fact.
That's
you
its
know?
15 minutes of fame for
Yeah.
a movie. You know what I mean?
And then
someone
it literally
died.
cost someone's life, and like that's irreplaceable. You cannot replace
Yep,
that.
done.
And it was for a stupid reason. They didn't even know that they had to die. Like they didn't even know it was on their life was on the line. Like it's awful. You know, it's awful how just the abusement can, like the other side of it. You know, like the darker side is like
Yeah.
it can be abused, and it's all that's the danger, like the clout chasing part. You know, he wanted to just tell people this was made with real guns, it was real stunts or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably because they were too cheap to get, you know, the real stuff or the fake stuff or whatever. I don't know.
It's
what
cheaper
it
to
was.
CGI the little flash on the
Yeah.
muzzle. You know?
What will that change?
Right.
You know, will
Nothing.
that really make 1,000 more
No.
people watch your movie? No.
Right, absolutely not. Like real. No, I just don't think it's necessary because like
not
with technology, yeah, if we can CGI Harrison Ford's face and make him look young, we
Yeah.
can put a little flat muzzle flash on the gun.
I don't think it's for everyone. I'm not saying that every actor should put their life on the line. I'm just saying
No.
there are some people who that is their thing. That's their life. I don't know if, and no one's saying we should, but I just don't know if we should always put a muzzle on that.
No,
But just like really separate the two, you know, like there's a danger to it, but you know, if people just abusing it for clout, and there's also just
well, how do you think about like people that you know they know what they signed up for? You know, they signed a waiver saying, "Hey, you're going to be in this movie. There's some stunts in it that could be dangerous." Like, do you think there's no defense for like, well, we know what we're getting into because we signed up for this?
well, there's typically a lot of leeway when it comes to contracts like that. Like
Yeah.
a waiver doesn't literally just mean, okay, whatever happens, we're in the clear. There are some times where you could argue that, hey, the waiver was too long. Everyone was signing it. You know, it was it's such a normal thing to do.
I was going to say
They're
though,
never expecting to die from
when
this.
you're handed that though, there's some, and if you don't think about this, you're stupid. But anytime you sign a safety waiver, you understand there's some risk. That waiver is legit designed for you don't sue them if you die.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? That's what that paper means.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, if you're saying that anyone who signs that should be expecting, hey,
I might die.
you might die.
No.
I don't think that should be
Sure.
a fair expectation.
Okay.
You can die any day for any reason. Like you
Sure.
could trip over something.
I'm
and
gonna eat a
die.
burger again. It'll be my second burger today. I could die.
You could die.
Do I need to sign a waiver at Whataburger? No.
No, so like,
But-
and here's the thing: it's the producer's job to make sure that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like if it was like something like, okay, we're going to be driving you in a vehicle that's super old, like an old tank or something that might explode. You know, and you're a stunt driver. That's what you do. Stunt people, they put their lives on the line.
Yeah.
I understand that way more. Just a regular extra or just someone like on like a stagehand, you know, you may die from this.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Why would I die from this? What are the chances of that happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that's a fair expectation to put on people, nor should it ever happen. If it's something that's like, hey, you're likely, it's not likely, but like there's a decent chance, you know, like if things go wrong, you could die from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get the right people into it, and like if they accept it, they have to accept it though. Like, yeah, you're right. This is the job, you know. Like I know what I'm doing. Like, gotta do it. Almost like a cop, you know. Like, yeah, chances are you're probably not gonna get shot, you know,
Right.
like in your career, but there's always a chance, you know. You never really know. And you put on the badge, you put on the uniform every single day, knowing that, you know, there's a small chance it may happen. You just a regular person, you can walk outside and, you know, have your life ended immediately. So life is a risk. It's just how much risk you want to add to it.
Yeah.
And for what reason.
So someone like Houdini, I think he knew and he chose like I could die.
Yeah.
That's the life he chose.
Right.
You get the Rush shooting. Alec Baldwin.
chose
yeah,
it, yeah.
Nobody thought they were going to die that day. And my understanding was nobody thought there were bullets in the actual
Yeah.
gun. Alec Baldwin's an idiot for pointing it at someone who wasn't even in the movie
Yeah.
and shooting. You know what I'm saying? But like,
You couldn't even exercise basic gun safety.
yeah, it varies case by case for sure. But someone like Houdini, someone like David Blaine, they made a choice to pursue that life. Okay.
Yeah.
And no one like David Blaine could freeze themselves and think, wow, like you know, am I going too far? No, he knew what he was doing to himself.
Yeah.
He understood the risk and he enjoyed it, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Now the wrestling thing, okay, there's a solid defense for saying I didn't know what was broken when I broke bones.
Sure.
But they knew something was broken.
Yeah.
They knew when they stood up something wasn't right. They felt that check engine light come on. Their tire pressure light turned
and
on.
that's the thing. Like even his opponent knew. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
He fell wrong. Like
Yeah.
because they've done this they rehearse
Over and over.
and over. If
Yeah.
one thing is out of place, he did it wrong. He's
Yeah.
got to be broken in several
Yeah.
places.
The
Like,
Undertaker walked out there with a broken foot.
yeah.
Okay. He knew. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing. Okay. That's the life they chose.
Yeah.
What's too far? I guess only willing as far as you're willing to go. Okay.
Sure.
Let me sum that up. So to answer your question, we're good. So I don't know. I guess it just depends. Like those guys, they that's what they chose. That's what they wanted to do. It's how far you're willing to go for the fans. Undertaker and I don't know what was the other guy's
Mankind.
name? Mankind. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I could have seen the Undertaker one time. How old is he now? Is he pretty old?
He's probably like late 50s now.
Gotcha.
And they're 60. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look it, but yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely is.
I respect someone who I guess the word is willing to die for their art. You know, good for them. But I think, they knew what they were. I'm not gonna say they knew what they were doing, but they had an idea of like, okay, we're on the verge of death. Houdini, he loved that. It sounds like
Yeah.
he tried to get that feeling of like, I'm about to die. I'm trying to get this done. I want to talk though about like. 'Cause I thought most of it was motivated by clout chasing. But I would actually, I'd like to talk about clout chasers.
Sure.
Do you know any extreme examples of like people that just for the views they do something really stupid?
I mean, dude,
and someone gets hurt.
look at TikTok and YouTube nowadays. Like everyone does it.
But does anyone come to mind?
I mean, I guess the obvious example would be like Logan Paul, but I know there's like I don't even know half their names. There are a lot of people who like literally commit crimes like on TikTok or something.
Yeah.
And, like get to the point where like they get people killed or seriously injured, or like
Yeah, there was a couple a long time ago. I want to say 17, 18, who they were going to fire a gun through a dictionary.
Oh yeah. I
You remember that
this.
one? Yeah. So they shot the Desert Eagle. If y'all don't know, the Desert Eagle that punches through houses, through
Yes.
tanks. So they shot the Desert Eagle through I think a phone book or something or dictionary. I don't know, but anyway, the bullet obviously went through the book and like killed her husband. And they had a kid, and she was pregnant, so they got her for like manslaughter. I wonder what she's up to now. But dumb
men.
stuff. Yeah, there's that kid over in London, I think, who. He'll like steal people's dogs, like while they're walking the dogs and feeding the birds. Yeah, and that kid will grab them and just run off.
Or walk in people's houses.
Walk in people's houses, like, dude, you are.
Like you're gonna get shot.
Yes.
Like, I mean, he's in
If he was in
England, but, like,
Texas,
it's
he'd have
different.
been
He would-
shot.
oh my gosh, so many times over. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, and just I don't even know what's entertaining about it. Like,
Right.
who actually likes that sick stuff?
I don't
Like,
know.
Who wants to see stuff like that?
That's the thing. I can understand why people think the gun thing would be cool. Like, shoot the book you're holding and the bullet doesn't go through. But you never point. Take notes, Alec Baldwin. You never point a loaded gun at somebody and pull the trigger.
Unless you're like that's gun safety 101. Unless you're intending to destroy.
To kill them, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. Clout chasing, it's an actual disease. It's a sickness.
And like so like the thing that Undertaker Mankind did, that's gonna last forever.
Yeah.
Stuff like this, like
It's at least an interesting story because I hadn't heard of it up until you brought it up.
sure. So, but like little clout chasing things, like stealing people's dogs, that's gonna last less than a week.
Yeah,
People are
you're
gonna
right.
complain about it, and
Going
then, like, move
viral.
on, and then like you're done. Like,
Yeah.
no one's gonna freaking remember your name.
That's true.
Because all you did was be a dick. Like just seriously, you didn't do anything to help. And those guys, they did something to inspire. They did something to make a mark. To actually have reason. They put reason to it. Like these people, all they do is, be the biggest monster they can be. For literally no reason other than just to get a few views. Or it's not even for money half the time.
Right.
Clout chasing goes beyond that. It's literally for the attention. And most of the time it goes a lot deeper. Like their parents, their upbringing, was really bad or whatever. They didn't give enough attention, or their parents get them into it. So even their parents are, like
Yeah, that's the thing. You're right. Social media is very fleeting. That's the best way to put it. You're right. It just like it doesn't last because like you go viral, 15 minutes worth of fame.
Yeah.
You think of those old YouTube clips where these guys like this. Oh, this is what made him famous. And then, but like after that, like if you stop uploading, who remembers you?
Exactly.
So yeah.
And then like again, if you're only remembered for doing bad things, like you're going to be remembered for even less. You're not even going to be remembered. Like you're going to be forgotten faster because people don't want to remember that. They don't want to remember something super negative. They'll remember the really cool stuff, the stuff that they were inspired by, the stuff that actually made a difference.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast making a lot of blind children see. A lot of people claim clout chasing for some reason, but like literally those kids are going to remember that for their entire
forever.
lives.
Yeah.
People are going to remember, hey, remember that one maybe that maybe not his name, but they're going to remember, hey, remember that one YouTube who actually like made a change, you know, and like made these kids see. Like
Only 100.
yeah, that's eternal. You know, like that goes on for a very, very long time.
I don't understand that criticism of like,
It's
he did
it's
this
just
and
jealousy, I think.
I was gonna say because like, why don't you go ahead and start your own YouTube channel, make a bunch of money, and spend it on something better? You know, do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Or just give all. Like,
Yeah.
Again, it's just like jealous people who are like, maybe they're like people who just go to their high school reunions and are not happy with their lives, and they're really mad at people who made something of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like who made a difference. Like,
yeah,
it's
you
so
know.
easy to criticize, but there's no substance there.
I was gonna say, I remember a long time ago, I went to the academy for being a jailer, and the deal was like, you're gonna get a crappy schedule, crappy days off right out the gate. Well, they had some openings for some good spots, right? And they gave it one of those spots to me because of my grades throughout the whole academy, and so I got this really good schedule. And I got it, and then a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people were mad at me. They were like, "Yo, that's not." They started coming at me, which is like, "Hey, look, I mean, I kind of did. I got to pick the one I wanted,
Yeah.
but they were like, I don't know. They were like, it's not fair to us, right?" I was like, "Well, sorry. Like, you should have got better grades. Didn't you fail one of the tests? Like, I'm sorry, hey." I got like straight A's that whole time. Like, it's not my fault. But like, this is jealousy. They're coming at you for their mistakes or their lack of trying harder.
But yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the time, they don't even try. It's one thing if you try. A lot of these people don't even like try to be better. They don't
I wasn't
even try.
handed that schedule.
Yeah.
Like I worked for it and I got good grades. I got what I, anyway. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if you don't like what people are doing, then go do better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
I'm
know
wrong. Like, just I don't know.
that's the thing too. I understand there's a built-in argument for like critiques. It's like, well, the same thing with critics. My dad used to be like, well, then go do better. I'm like, well, I don't want to though. I like critiquing.
That's a deeper conversation with like critics and what their purpose
Yeah,
is. But
I think it's gonna be. I put that down on one of our topics.
as far as like the public, public critique, like public image, man, I think like even deep down, we all know what's good and what's bad, what people are doing, what's clout chasing, and what people are doing just to make people's lives better. Mr. Beast, he's not my favorite person in the world, not for any particular reason. It's just like, I don't know, like he's just not something I watch. But man, he does a lot of good, and he inspires people to do really good stuff. Remember that. Like, focus on that stuff. Like even if you don't like the guy, like what he's doing. You don't have to like it 100% or hate it 100%. Like one or the other.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think we've explored that then very well. Clout chasing. I need more. Just we can react to stupid TikTokers. Just pull some of their stuff at some point. But
it's all gonna be the same message, like the same thing over and over.
I agree.
Again.
So I don't know, man.
We're running out of legends. That's for sure.
Legends. Dang, that's a hard thing to think about.
And with like Twitter, how it is, like in 1 second, a legend could be deplatformed and canceled for some reason. Like it's just not the time for it anymore. It's not the time to have heroes. It's kind of sad in that way.
Dang. Yeah, does anyone still inspire you?
Anyone still?
Yeah.
You like growing up. All celebrities, inspire, specifically celebrities who inspired me, just to be better, just be bigger, just be stronger, and to be tougher, and to be nicer, like to do good things, whether from a movie or TV show or just like people in general. Nowadays, it really I guess it shows maturity. It's just people I know. I have a mentor. I have like a couple mentors actually, for specific moments in my life. But they're not famous by any means, but they're definitely like, they mean a lot to me because they helped me to develop who I am, Obviously I still have, people like Goo Gaga over, love The Undertaker, love Mankind, those guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Undertaker actually lives here in Austin, Texas.
Nice. Okay, because he was at the Fan Expo in Dallas.
Yeah. Really cool guy.
Yeah.
Really chill dude. But like, it's really cool to have like celebrity idols, I guess, or just like role models, but like, don't get caught up in just the fame aspect. Get caught up
Yeah.
in the mess. Like, remember the message they're trying to convey.
Yeah, so someone who I very much looked up to,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I still do, but I'm with you. Like, I don't idolize celebrities anymore.
Yeah.
But back in the day, somebody I really did look up to was like Sylvester Stallone.
Sure.
I got so enamored by the role of Rocky. Okay, have you seen all the Rocky movies?
No, but I've seen all the Rambo movies.
Okay, well,
I've seen the first,
not the same
I've
thing.
seen the first 2 Rockies.
Well, do you know what he went through to get Rocky made?
Hell, but other than that, not details.
So, and the big thing was like he was told, "You'll never act. You're not a good actor." Which I understand what they meant because like he doesn't have the actor like voice. He doesn't
He's
have
also
the
got
actor face.
the mouth or the thing in his face. But
Yeah, I don't know if he had a stroke at some point, but yeah, I know what they mean. They'll say he'll never act. So I'd have to watch the full documentary, but I know he sold his dog. He sold to a smaller studio the script, but on the condition that he got to play the lead character.
It's very much the story that's in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like, which is so cool because like then when he's acting, quote unquote, it's really coming from a real place.
Mm-hmm.
He understands it. Just like Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Forget Will Smith now.
Right.
Back then, the famous scene where he's talking about his dad, and his dad left him. How come you don't want me? His dad really did that to him. So he came from like a realistic place, and that is so relatable to people. Kind of like Sylvester Stallone, it's like that's why I love the Rocky character. He's very relatable. It's a Cinderella story. He actually had a lot of flaws. He was like a mob enforcer, basically. He wasn't a great guy,
Right.
But he had so much potential. And then the relationship between him and his coach, like that was just like great mentorship, and you got to see.
I fell in love with that story as a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So-
and the heart in it.
Another role I mentioned, Rambo. First Blood specifically is the only Rambo film I really love. It's one of my most famous scenes in all of cinema. Have you ever seen it?
Of course.
The very end, when to preface this movie, essentially he's Vietnam vet, I think. He's coming home and everyone hates him because at that time everyone hated Vietnam vets coming home. Like everyone hated them. So like even before he gets to do anything, people just have this prejudice against him and they start giving him mean looks and they start treating him horribly. And he's holding back the entire time, and eventually like he just goes full quote unquote Rambo, And then he goes like on a rampage, right? Until the very end when the general, basically the person, his father figure who made him who he was, sits down, and that's the only person in Rambo's life he'll let get close to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he sits down, and he's the only one who can calm him down. And then Sylvester Stallone just goes on like this rant, basically. The character in the Rambo goes on a rant, like kind of explains everything that's been happening throughout the movie, but the fact that it's happening to him his whole life. That's been his whole life, and no one's ever going to understand it. And this saying like he's seen all of his friends die, and no one's ever going to understand that, or he's been built as a weapon and that's it. He can't live life normally. Like that's just not who he is. And the general's like, yes, I know that, but you just got to understand, like the world, like they're not going to accept you for that.
Yeah.
And he just gives like this most amazing one of the most amazing performances I've ever seen. It still gives me chills to this day. I still rewatch it every once in a while. It shows me that he can absolutely act.
Oh yeah.
Like 120%. But I do remember that as a kid. I remember that being like, I remember watching a cool movie about, a guy who goes on a rampage, right? And then at the very end, I'm like, oh wow, like I'm very like, I don't know how to process this.
Right.
There's so much real emotion, raw emotion to it based off his acting and also like the storytelling, you know, but like,
see that ties back to what we were talking about earlier for this episode was like how much should you suffer, because like he was suffering where like he went into debt, he sold his dog, he did all these things to get this movie made, and then it paid off. But there are so many people that do that, take that risk, and it doesn't pay off, and that's the thing. But again, I think it just harkens back to like that's the choice that they made, that's the sacrifice that they made, knowing full well that maybe it won't work out, and that's just how life is sometimes. Can you imagine if we stopped everything we were doing? You quit your job, I quit mine, and we cashed out our retirements, and we bought all this equipment. You know what I mean? And we're like, okay, we're going all in on this, and then like we upload our first video, right, and 10 views,
Yeah,
you know,
and that's
whatever,
it.
15 views. And it's just like, you know, and we were putting the work in, but like sometimes it just doesn't work that way where it just like instant success
Yeah.
overnight. You know what I mean?
If it ever comes.
If it ever comes. Exactly. You know, so
We were very lucky to live in the day where anyone can
Just-
have a platform.
exactly.
Can do
And
whatever
that's the
they
thing.
want.
Like, what, just be realistic about it. Like, this is like a part-time gig and we're like, you know, we worked up to buying the good equipment. We worked up to different content. We're looking at, you know, I got that spin-off show now with Darcy.
It's small,
looking at
small
games.
sacrifices, like
Yeah.
small sacrifices in the hopes that, you know, something comes out of it. And here's the thing. We've said it over and over again, even if nothing comes out of it, you guys are still here. We're doing this for you guys. And also I enjoy it. Caleb enjoys it. Like, it's for us just as much as it's for you guys, you know? And I don't mind doing it at all. I don't mind doing small sacrifices. I'm not going to freaking sell my car for this.
Right. No.
Because, you know, it's just not wise ananymore. It never
it isn't.
really is. But,
So yeah, I'm glad this is like you said, free. You can do it in your spare time. Right now I have the time where I can commit once a week,
Sure.
releasing an episode and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
like, you know, I don't know. It's just like it's fun. And
I really, you know, like, again, I mean, this kind of this whole conversation, you know, like, really makes me feel better about what we're doing because, like, I never once thought this is going to give us money.
yeah.
This is going to make us famous. This
Or
is going to
I'm
get
gonna
us...
come die. I'm sacrificing. I might die for the. For
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Show.
Not once. Like, it's more like, but I am doing it for people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it for me and doing it for you, but also doing it for people who watch. You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
you seem to like it, you know, and that's awesome. You know, like, I'm
Yeah.
going to do more. You know, like, I really like it. I'm going to do more, you know, just to, like, kind of please everyone at the same
Yeah.
time, you know. Whatever stupid things we have to say, you know, if you like it, awesome.
That's free. I can talk.
Yeah.
I can run my mouth for free. I don't have to spend all this money on it.
Sure
you know?
thing, yeah.
I did though.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I love, dude. Stallone. I'd say he's one of my heroes. I look up to him quite a bit. If he ever comes to the Dallas Fan Expo, I'd pay to see him.
Sure.
Another actor that I very much look up to as well is Tom Wilson, the guy that plays Biff from Back to the Future.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he's in a lot more things than you'd think. He does a lot of voice acting. He also does stand up. I've done stand up before.
Yeah.
It's hard, but like he basically he's got so many talents, and so like he plays. He's in a bunch of SpongeBob episodes. He plays the Tattletale Strangler.
No way.
He plays.
Of course, that's him.
He plays the Salty Spittoon bouncer. Like, welcome to the Salty Spittoon. Like that's him.
That's crazy.
He does a lot of voice acting.
Oh, dude! On top of that,
Yeah,
like Tom Kenny is He's great too.
Right. Well, yeah.
Speaking of Back to the Future, I really love Michael J. Fox. Specifically,
He just had a documentary come out, didn't he?
I need to watch that because, like, yeah, talk about like just hard life and also persevering through like so much. I mean, there was a time where he was like literally the face, top of his game everywhere. You cannot escape him, and then gets held into this horrible news, you know, and like choosing to not only like keep going, but also to smile and laugh.
Did he keep going? I actually want to
Not
bring this
so
up.
much with acting.
I was
but
gonna
more
say.
like he really focused on his foundation, the Michael J. Fox Foundation, and
okay.
really focused on like that.
Okay.
But also like in interviews, he really just can't act anymore. It's almost impossible for him, which is really sad. But he really tries to still make connections with people. He still does interviews. He still does like promote his foundation, Parkinson's disease, I think, and then
Yeah.
but
Well-
again, to make it better for people who are like him, you know, like that's really cool. He's doing something really
Yeah.
cool that's worth it, you know. And this
Okay.
is to
I was
donate
gonna
to
ask.
research that will be, you know, forever.
I was going to ask your opinion. I was wondering, do you think he just kind of rolled over and gave up?
I don't think so at all.
Okay, because I know he gave up acting basically.
Yeah,
but
like he-
but I didn't know he did so much behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
people
stuff.
don't really realize, and he's very humble about it. But people don't really realize he had to give it up.
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, it hurts or it's, you know, it's a little uncomfortable. Like he generally cannot do it anymore. Because if you see an interview, he actually like he says I think he described it. Don't quote me. I think he described it like when he's looking at his interviewer, he has to bring all focus to staring at this person. Whenever he talks, though, he breaks focus and he has to move his head like all the way around the room. That's how he concentrates when he talks. So if he really hones in on it, he can stare, you know, and focus on someone, but it's like driving him nuts. And then like, you know, just moving is hard for him and talking is hard for him. So it's like, dude, you have every excuse, just to give up. But he
Right.
chooses not to.
Right.
He actually does a lot of behind the scenes work,
Yeah.
which is just
Okay.
really, really
I
cool.
actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I love that. Good. I'm glad. That's the thing. So people like that I look up to.
Yeah.
They're the loudmouth guys on YouTube. I like Mr. Beast. I like what he does.
Sure.
I think he does a lot of good work. I don't look up to him
Sure. Yeah.
because, like you said, like sure, maybe the kids that he helped with blindness, sure, they can
Yeah.
look up to him. That's fine. But like, I don't see him as anything more than an entertainer or someone who's doing stuff to, maybe not profit off of, but like I think he makes very wholesome videos. But I don't look up to him as someone who's doing good work for the sake of doing good work. I don't think that's his main motivation.
Yeah, that's kind of like the biggest debate, isn't it? What
Yeah.
his motivation is. That's
Right.
another conversation. But for me,
Yeah, and I don't know him.
you know what? For some people, he may be that person.
Sure.
And
The
but
people that he healed blindness from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just them.
They
only them.
literally can look up to him now.
The first people they look up
Yeah.
to. For me, I don't know if it's just because I'm too old or because it's not my thing.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him, good for people he helps out.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a debate whether he's doing it for the money or
Sure.
not. Whatever.
Yeah.
You would do the same exact thing if you were in his
I would.
position.
I can't criticize him for that.
But yeah, there are some people, I guess, like when I was growing up, it really is when you're younger.
Yeah.
You really develop, these role models, and they kind of help shape you. Again, going back to the entertainment is so valuable because it shapes a big part of you.
Yeah.
That's how you learn a lot of things. That's how you learn life values. That's how you learn social cues.
Yeah.
That's how you learn how to be yourself. Oddly enough, even though it's supposed to be a portrayal of someone. Harrison Ford, I look up to him. I look up to Mark Hamill, all the Star Wars cast. Carrie Fisher, definitely looked up to her. Because those people were nobodies. And George Lucas, I very much look up to him because he was taking the biggest risk of them all, betting on a franchise that no one wanted. And now it's one of the biggest names ever,
I don't look up to George, but I understand what you mean.
I think I've said this before. I look up to George specifically because I'm a softcore writer. I don't really write for people.
Yeah.
I just write for myself and my friends. But I do have story ideas, and I'm always I don't know, what to do with it. I don't know if it would ever become anything, but he had a story, in his own head, and he made it happen. So that was way before Suits got involved, before executives could say what he could and could not do. He made it all happen, love it or hate it. He made it all happen, with his vision. A lot of people helped, but it was ultimately his vision, to see it through 100%, whether it made sense or not. And I have to admire him for that.
Yeah.
So, as a writer, that makes me feel better. But yeah, it's okay to have a role model. It's okay to look up to celebrities. I don't think anyone's saying. Or some people are saying you shouldn't look up to them at all, but we need people like that.
And that's what looking up to people is like someone who you aspire to be like
Yeah.
or makes you better. So, someone like Tom Wilson, I think he's like the older version of me if I was famous. Like I don't think I'll ever be famous, but if I was, he he is married with kids now, but before, he didn't just settle for just being Biff. He started doing stuff he wanted to do. He learned how to play the guitar.
Yeah.
He did stand up. He started making music. He started making jokes that were funny.
Yeah.
He started playing roles that I like to watch.
So naturally funny.
Yeah,
he's hilarious.
Dude, he is funny. I watch him when he's getting interviewed.
Yeah.
And he's he just goes into it like I would, you know what I mean, when I'm with people. He's just a funny guy. Same thing, Stallone, bro. He just built his whole life. He just knew what he wanted to do. He didn't let whatever's wrong with his face.
Yeah.
He didn't let that dictate where his life was gonna go. A lot of people, there are a lot of Sylvester Stallones out there that'll never be noticed, that may make the same sacrifices, but'll never get the same amount of success.
Yeah. Another great example is actually Quentin Tarantino. Love Quentin Tarantino.
He's my favorite director.
He is so
Hands
good.
down.
And actually, I feel like even though his personality is pretty, extreme, a lot of the things he does, a lot of the decisions he makes, I can relate to. It's something that I would do if I was a director. And guess what? He's always fighting everyone. For Reservoir Dogs, the first film, he really made, that was on the budget of 2 cheese sandwiches, essentially. He just barely got it made. No one wanted it. It was supposed to, everyone thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
And it was one of his most famous films, but also just one of the most famous films of all time.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Reservoir Dogs. Everyone freaking loves when he makes movies.
Yeah.
And it's always like that, no, he does things that are so unique that no one would ever do or would think to do.
Well, he's only just now in a position where now he's telling now he's in control. Like he's
Sure.
always been in control, but like you say, he's always been fighting people.
Every single
Yeah,
moment. Now
but-
he actually
yeah.
has finally the respect
Yeah.
he deserves.
Right. And that's when he decides to retire.
Yeah, it's like, dude, and good for him
Yeah.
for having an end goal.
Yeah.
He says he's going to make one more movie, I think. And
10.
he does. Yeah, and he's 10 movies.
10
He's
altogether.
From basically from the beginning, he said that. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't even know if it's going to be Kill Bill 2 or Reservoir Dogs 2. You know, like maybe who knows? He probably knows, but like.
Yeah.
Good for him for saying, like, he's kind of young, so he could do movies all the time, but he only does
Yeah.
it when he wants to.
Have you seen his interview with Robert Rodriguez?
I think so.
Yeah, so it's funny because that was a two-parter.
I love
Obviously.
Robert. I love him too.
Yeah, so they're talking to each other, and he's like, and Rob Rodriguez has been in his house a few times, and he'll find a script like that Tarantino hated, and ended up just like, I'm throwing it in this box, like
Yeah.
I don't want it. And then like Robert Rodriguez is looking at it, he's like, dude, this is like perfect. He's like, dude, I just didn't like how it looked. He's like, you know, like what's trash to Tarantino is like Hollywood, someone else's treasure, like
Right,
literally,
exactly.
like, you know, and that's crazy
But
to me.
he's just so
Yeah.
like
Such a perfectionist.
He's so comfortable and he's
Yeah.
so conscious and secure about himself and his ability.
Yeah.
He doesn't care if you hate his movies.
Right.
He generally is just going to make what he wants.
Exactly.
And he knows they're going to
and
be great.
and he's in a spot where like he doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you look at dude, Pulp Fiction, dude, like he was I love Pulp Fiction. That's like my favorite movie. Anytime I eat a big burger, I'm watching that scene with
Big
yeah,
Kahuna.
Big Kahuna Burger. But he's the only one that's ever told Harvey Weinstein, at least that I know of. I'm sure there's more, but he's the only one that's ever like put Harvey Weinstein in his place.
Wow.
Aside from the controversies with him
Sure, yeah.
hurting actresses. But he's the only one where Harvey like came in and was like, "Hey Tarantino, I got to talk to you about this." And Tarantino was like, "I'm not changing it."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then Harvey's like, "Okay," and then left. You
Yeah.
know? He's the only one that's been able to do that because like Harvey Weinstein at the time was the guy. Like you did whatever he told you. You know what I mean? And now for the most part, he was good about staying away from hurting people's visions. But there were times where he was trying to tell Tarantino to cut something out, and he's like, "I'm not doing it."
No.
And then Harvey just had to go with it, you know, and it paid off. So
Just
yeah,
like little stories, like
I don't think I'd look up to Tarantino though, but I
when
understand.
I look up to Tarantino,
Right.
I look up to him as a director, just like
yeah, absolutely.
his passion for film and passion
Yeah.
for creating something for fans, you know, and also just to tell his story. I love storytellers. His personality is extreme. That's why I preferenced it before. Obviously, he's gotten into like big rants and anger, like arguments.
He
with
doesn't
people
support
for
police.
for no reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a lot of things not to like about him. However,
I love his movies.
yeah, he's just a really creative, talented
And
guy.
as long as he's not a big pervert, then I think we're okay. I'm okay
Honestly.
supporting him. I don't allow people's personal beliefs to tie into a movie. Obviously, because I saw The Flash. Ezra Miller goes
Sure.
crazy and does all these things. I still watch the movie. Watched it for free though, so
Sure.
can't fight me. But
For me, it's case by case. I think I said before.
Sure.
There's some people who are like, genuinely, no, I just don't want to.
yeah, that's fair.
But like most of the time, I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Doesn't
Like,
bug me that much.
Doesn't bug me.
Yeah, guys, we're at an hour mark. I am very happy. This is a good discussion. What do you think? Were you happy with this one?
Fantastic.
It was
Yeah,
good.
great.
Yeah. I love this new equipment. I'm gonna keep saying it for the next few episodes. It's pretty
Yeah.
great. We're able to pause it and come back. So
I mean, nothing ever happened.
yeah, this was one fluid conversation.
Yeah, we didn't have like 5-6 different people come in.
Yeah,
here.
we didn't have 20 interruptions. So there wasn't a maintenance guy here to spray the place down. No. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see y'all next time.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Bye.